welcome to the behind the scenes of the Yarn Thing podcast with Marley Bird. We're going to go live here in like 30 seconds. So I'm just going to say hello and tell you we have a great guest today. Shannon Dunbabin's on the show from Cascade Yarns.
3, 2, 1.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Yarn Thing podcast with Marley Bird. I'm your host, Marley Bird. You can get to the Yarn Thing podcast live every Tuesday and Thursday morning at 10 o'clock Mountain Time. That's 12 o'clock on the East Coast, 9 o'clock on the West Coast, and 11 o'clock in the Midwest. If you are anywhere else in the world and would like to join us live for the podcast, please Google what time 10 o'clock Mountain Time is for you. I do live in Denver, Colorado, and you can come and join the fun. There is a live chat that is open on blogtalkradio.com/yarn thing. Or you can always join me over on Facebook, on the Marley Bird Facebook page, where I do a Facebook Live behind the scenes of every episode of the Yarn Thing podcast since Facebook Live became available to me. So if you want to join me over here, I would love that because it's a lot of fun just kind of hanging out and reading your hellos and seeing the hearts that fly across the screen. It's loads of fun. Let's say thank you to our sponsors, then we'll jump in with today's guest. I'm going to say thank you to Red Heart Yarns, where I'm the proud national spokesperson, Knitters Magazine, XRX Books and Stitches Expos, Craftsy.com, Lolo by Barmaids, Erin Lane Bags, Creative Bug, where I have a brand new class being released today. We'll talk about that later in the show. Buffalo Wool Company, and last but certainly not least, Green Mountain Spinnery. You can find out more about my sponsors over at marleybird.com. If you click on the sponsor menu, you can see a direct link to each one of them. Please go to them and say hello and thank you for sponsoring the Yarn Thing podcast. It allows me to be able to bring this show to you twice a week for free. So we love our sponsors. They're a lot of fun. Today's guest is a good friend of mine, and she and I have bebopped the night away at pajama parties way back when, and I have been a huge fan of her yarn for a long time, as many of you are. It was actually one of the first yarns I ever purchased from a quote-unquote real yarn store, and, you know, I think once you are introduced to wool yarn, one of the first yarns people will tell you to go try out is Cascade 220. And then from there, you just, you veer off and you try all sorts of yarns and the great Cascade yarns. And it's just amazing. So what's awesome today is I get to introduce you to not only a wonderful company, a family-owned company, one that is predominant in the world of yarn, but also I get to introduce you to my friend Shannon Dunbabin, who is just amazing and talented and just an absolutely wonderful person. So I'm excited to let you get to know her today. So let's welcome Shannon to the show. Hello, my friend. How are you?
Good. How are you doing today, Mom?
I am doing really great. I had an excellent night's sleep, which is always rejuvenating. And so I feel really good today. How about yourself? You have a newborn at home.
Yeah, he's 10 months old now,
Oh.
actually. And he's quite the character. Not a great sleeper, though.
Wow, I remember when. How about that? But I'm sure you're having lots of fun and just doing a great time. Now, those of you who might not know, Cascade Yarns is based in Washington State. And man, am I super jealous you get to live there in Seattle proper area because it's just one of my favorite places ever. I would move there in a heartbeat if we had a job opportunity there.
Being in Seattle, I really do. I originally grew up in Michigan, so I can tell you I don't miss the Michigan winters. So I've been really enjoying the much milder Seattle weather, and it's just a great area. So.
Very cool. Well, Shannon, why don't we tell everybody how you got involved with Cascade Yarns and your position with them and whether you like to knit and crochet and kind of take us through the progression of your knitting career.
Okay, well, about 13 and a half years ago, Rob and I had met up quite a while ago at Cornell, and he decided to ask me to marry him, and I decided to move out to Seattle, and he's like, I didn't have a chance to look for a job before I got here. He's like, oh, just go work for my parents. They have a yarn business. They could use some extra help, and I'm going, okay, sure, why not? I can always look for something else later, and I started with basics of checking orders and kind of working through different positions, and I realized this is really silly. I work for a yarn company. I don't knit or crochet. This seems really, really kind of just... So I decided, okay, I'll learn how to knit. And I found out that I really liked it. And then I taught myself to crochet, but then I had wrist problems, so I had to give up crocheting because it doesn't go well with my wrists. And then I found out I liked kind of creating my own patterns. So I just gradually, and I worked through pretty much all the different, all the different positions at Cascade, and I found that I was really good with numbers and whatnot. And then I found out I actually loved playing with the colors, and ended up working into doing our colors and working with new yarns and swatching them and whatnot. But it's turned out to be a really fun business, and I absolutely love it. Both Rob and I are involved with it on a daily basis and pretty much eat, live, and breathe it.
Now, when Rob's parents are the ones who started Cascade Yarns, can you kind of tell us, do you have the story of how they got started with how Cascade got started, I guess is the better way to say that?
It's a funny story. It's a funny story. So Bob, his dad, has done real estate forever. And his mom, they've also imported things like rugs. Gene had an Oriental carpet store, and Bob was up in, believe in Canada, some real estate thing he was looking at, and this guy asked to join them and said, he'd buy the beer if he could join them, and they're like, oh sure. And it came up, and it turns out he was Simon Manley from Hayfield, and he's like, well, would you like to distribute yarn? And Bob was the short paraphrase is, well, how hard could it be? And that was almost 30 years ago. And he learned that he eventually decided within a few years that it was important to have our own label instead of being at the control of other people, because I think Hayfield at one point went bankrupt or reorganized. I don't have the full story of it very well, but they ended up wanting to be in charge of their own brand and discovered the Peruvian wool and got the Cascade label going, and it's kind of been going since. And like I said, next year will be our 30th anniversary, so we're pretty excited about that.
Wow. So did Bob travel then to Peru to source the fiber, and then I'm guessing you have a really great relationship with the mills in Peru.
Yeah, we've had one mill we've done business with for a good 25 plus years, probably more than that. And we work with every mill we work with. We go and we visit. We get to know the people. We look at the working conditions. We look at their equipment to make sure it's up to standard. We check very carefully, and because there's good mills and there's bad mills, no matter where you go in the world, honestly. And it's very important for us to have a long-term relationship. And any mill we work with over and over again, and get to know the same people and have the same contacts. And it's one of those things where, besides the ethics of having good working conditions, and it's also happy people make good yarn, honestly.
Right.
If you have happy workers, they like their job, they're going to do a better job. And, it's no fun to knit on yarn that doesn't behave. It really is.
Just preach. So as he, started all this, you have Cascade 220, you have so many different yarns. How many yarn, I don't know, label's not probably the right word, different yarns do you have?
I want to say if you count the individual yarns on our Cascade price list that have the Cascade label, it's 70 to 80 different yarns, but some of them are families of yarns. So if you talk about families, it's probably closer to like 25 to 30 different yarns. But individual labels, we're around the 75 to 80 mark, I think.
Now, how do you decide? I'm really curious about this, because one of my favorite yarns that you guys made is discontinued, and it's Epiphany. And it was it was amazing. Like, I'm hoarding Epiphany yarn. And how do you decide if a yarn stays or goes? Because, as the general public, they might not really understand what goes into the thought process of, deciding to keep a yarn or discontinue yarn, or even keep a color or discontinue a color. Of course, there's the obvious of it's not selling, but, is there more to it than just that?
There's a lot of factors. Epiphany was a very special case, and trust me, that yarn broke my heart. I personally love that yarn. That was one where the mill had trouble making the correct blend.
Oh.
And we always check our yarns. We check to make sure what we're selling is what's on the label. We always have. And we were having trouble with the blend being correct. And then once I got it correct, they wanted the price was going to go way up.
Ooh.
Um, so it was like this series of factors. It had been delayed. We had mislabeled yarn because it wasn't what it was supposed to be, and it just finally like give up.
Yeah, I get you.
That one was really heartbreaking because it was really this luxurious. It was royal alpaca cashmere and silk.
That was great.
Absolutely gorgeous, luxurious blend, and it wasn't working out. Other yarns, it usually is. It's coming out of favor because we need to make room for new yarns. We have a finite amount of space in our warehouse. Colors are usually either I need to tweak the color a little bit because it would work better if I changed it slightly, or it just slowed down and it's not a good fit.
Okay.
But it's usually we try to keep up, and because generally we like yarns that stay in our line for a long time. Cascade 220, 220 Superwash, our Heritage Sock yarn, our Pacific line. These are things that we want to keep in our line and expand out different gauges in. Longwood's another one that we've had in the last few years. It's a joy to work with. But our goal, we came out with occasional fashion yarns, but we're pretty much classics. And so part of being classics is having yarns that stick around for years. Mm-hmm. And so it's really hard to make the decision sometimes to kill stuff because there's some things that I'm like, hey, I really like this.
Right. No, I totally get that. I totally understand that. Now, for those people who might think, oh, Cascade, they only do wool, and I'm allergic to wool, so I can't use their yarn. I'm going to call bunk on that because you have wonderful cottons. You have, really great acrylic yarns, and they're completely affordable, wonderful, wonderful yarns. So can you talk to me a little bit about like the Pima cotton and then some of your other really great acrylics?
Oh, yeah, Elder Pima has a special place in my heart. It was the first palette I ever did from scratch.
Very cool.
They're like, oh, here, try putting a palette together. I'm like, okay, do I have a limit? They're like, no, just put a palette together. I'm like, oh, cool. So I ended up doing 50 some odd colors when we launched it.
Holy.
This big crayon box of this gorgeous cotton yarn. And it was the first cotton I really like working with because I have arthritis. And so cotton can often be very hard on the hands. And this one, just something about the hand of it, the way it was twisted. It's a type of mercerization, but it still keeps the softness to it.
Yep.
It really was a joy to work with. And it's become one of our big core yarns. We have some other ones. We have the Sunseeker family with Sunseeker and Sunseeker Shade. We have...
which I love, by the way. It's beautiful.
Actually, yeah. This spring, we actually are launching 70% Pima, 30% linen in a sport weight.
Oh.
Coming out this spring. We just gave our reps the cards for that. And that one needs to become a shawl. It really just plays very nicely on the needles. And then we've got this whole family of acrylics as well. But we've got something. We try to have something for everybody.
I love it.
And really try to have it so there's a wide variety of yarns in different gauges. We have from lace weight up to Mondo, which is our alpaca wool. I get something at 550 needles. It's crazy because this big monstrous 400-gram hank.
Yeah.
That one won't be around forever, but because it's because the really thick yarns are popular now, but I don't know how long that's going to last.
Right.
It's beautiful to work with.
That is so cool. I love that. I made something out of the sateen yarn in my book.
Oh, yeah.
And it was so wonderful to work with. Like I couldn't wait to pick it up and work on it. And it had so many different colors in it. And so, I mean, it was not only I was working on it, but I had all these colors to tuck in. But I think the end product was absolutely worth it. And those of you who are wondering, it's the hat and chevron coordinating cowl and hat patterns. It's really fun. And then Cascade 220 Sport, I made a really beautiful infinity cowl in the book with it, and it's pretty. Your yarn is so wonderful because you have so much of it that is timeless. Like, yes, you just mentioned you have the really big fat yarn that might not last forever. Just like we had some of my favorite eyelash yarn, which doesn't last forever. There are fads and trends that come and go through the career of, knitting and crochet. In your time at Cascade, have you had a chance to see things go and then come back and then go and then come back or anything like that? Like, What is something that was surprising to you, maybe something that has happened in the time that you've been there?
Well, I know there was a big the actually the biggest thing for me is watching the progression of the knitters. Honestly,
Yeah.
where you see, I really got involved right during the boom. In all sincerity, I came in about a year before where the things just went kind of crazy. Right as it was getting crazy. And kind of exploded. So it was just influx of brand new knitters coming in, and it's watching them progress through the techniques. And honestly, the thing that I'm noticing as people get better, things like multicolored yarns and stuff become less popular, and people go more into doing technique. I see a lot of lace type work happening right now,
Yeah.
which is fabulous because some of the shawls out there are completely gorgeous. And I see a lot more color work and people being more creative with what they do with it than actually what the yarn does.
Yeah.
And a lot more going towards the basics, where there all of a sudden will probably be at some point some new thing that comes out. Because I know they had the ruffling yarn for a while, which was a new version of a fancy yarn. But
Yeah.
there seems to kind of boomerang. We go fancy back to classics, back to then all of a sudden we'll have something that's fancy and get a new influx. Hopefully, we get a new influx of new knitters and crocheters. But it's watching the progression as their skill improves, and all of a sudden, cowls were really, really big, and they're still popular. But I've seen shawls becoming a bigger thing than cowls now. Is a big accessory everybody's making as they're getting more advanced, trying more. And there's these crazy asymmetrical shapes that go different directions as people are kind of experimenting. What can we do with this rather than a basic triangle or rectangle?
Right.
So it's really fun to kind of watch everything that's out there.
I love that. And in the time that you've been there, something that and quite honestly, I don't know if you even remember this. It was how you and I met. You were talking to gosh, I think it was Nikki Epstein. I'm pretty sure it was Nikki. And it was in a booth at TNA, and I walked in and Nikki introduced me to you. And that is how you and I met, and you talked to me about designing. And, those of you out there who might not understand, when you go to the National Needle Arts Association, it is it's a trade show. And it used to be much bigger than it is now in the sense of, the amount of people that went there. But when you go there as a designer and you go into different booths, you never really are quite sure how you're going to be received because you walk into those booths and you're costing that yarn company money. Yes, it's really great. And what you do for them is fantastic, but not everybody sees it that way. They want people to come in that are going to buy their yarn, not somebody that comes in that's trying to sell themselves, right? So here I am, I meet Shannon, and you're completely very nice. You took a look at, I actually was wearing something that I had designed, and you were like, that's fabulous. Are you a designer? If you need yarn support, blah, blah, blah. The reason I'm mentioning this story is, one, as a new designer, you were very welcoming and very kind and gave me a chance, even just through your words of support. And I appreciate that. And I think that totally influences the way I view Cascade. I view it as very designer friendly. I view it as one that really does seek out not only traditional, well-known designers, but new designers. And you give them a chance to grow and blossom, just like our friend Laura Kurzak, who those of you, if you've been paying attention to, the backs of different magazines or you follow Cascade Yarns, some of the most beautiful crochet projects are coming out from Laura. And she was a new designer that you met and gave a chance. And I think that that's fantastic that you do that. Can you kind of give us your thought process behind the designer side of the Cascade Yarns?
I love new designers. I love the experienced designers. Melissa Leitman, Nikki Epstein. God, there's tons of them.
Yeah.
They're wonderful. I love new designers because you don't know what they're going to do. They haven't gotten into their niche a lot of times yet. And they're a little bit more willing to experience. Laura, I adore her. I really do. And I was so glad she was willing to take a chance and design for us. And I've been very happy ever since. Now she's doing crochet swatches for us. We can get crochet information on our website and starting to get them on some of our labels. But I love, finding newer designers that we either haven't worked before or newer designers learning because either we can provide yarn support to them for self-publications or we can purchase designs outright, whatever works for people. and the ideas, the different directions, because they're a little more willing to think outside the box sometimes and come up with some different things. And I haven't really regretted it, working with some of them. And it's fun. It's a win-win. I get to find somebody that isn't really being used by anybody else, and they get a chance to show off their work and make some money doing it. So it's been a lot of fun, and I've enjoyed the different people we've gotten to meet. And we offer a ton of free patterns that we pay for on our website to give them, but we also do a ton of yarn support where we let them self-publish and we send them the yarn. It's because we want to work with them and support them, whatever works best for them.
I love that. And on behalf of, other designers, we totally appreciate that, because in the designing community, Cascade has a very good reputation for that, very good support. And then I also want to put out there, everybody that's listening, knitters and crocheters, just as Shannon mentioned, they have a lot of free patterns on their website to help support, their yarns. You might think, oh, it's just quote unquote wool. It's just a color, but you might be lost on what it is you want to make with it. Take a chance. Go take a look at some of the free patterns that are available there, because there's some really great items. And yes, everybody, there are crochet items. And the reason I'm reiterating that is because I have been told, I don't know how many times, that crocheters tend to think that quote unquote yarn store yarns, and I keep saying that because I think it's just a BS statement, but yarn store yarns are knitter yarns, and that's not true. They are crochet yarns too. You can use any yarn to crochet also. And Cascade supports crocheters, has a full range of patterns by crocheters, and has featured crochet in their advertising and other items. And so it's something that you will find it there at Cascade Yarns. And again, it's cascadeyarns.com, you guys. Go check it out, all their free patterns. And it's really great because you can look up the patterns by their advertisements, look up knitting patterns, look up crochet patterns, look up, patterns, search by a particular yarn. Maybe you have a yarn that you got and you could go check it out. I mean, there's lots of options. It's very user friendly. Maybe that's the great way to do it, or to say it. And in my opinion, one of the best things to do when I go to Cascade Yarns is look at all the different yarns, look at all the different colors, because it's inspiring. Or maybe that's just the designer in me. Like, I look at the colors you choose, Shannon, and I get just totally inspired by it.
Well, thank you.
I think you do a really great job.
I love doing it, honestly. I love this industry. It's some of the nicest people I've ever met. I grew up in a music store. My grandmother had 2 music stores, and I grew up in the music industry. And there's some lovely musicians, but it's not nearly the warm community that I get with knitters. Because people, when they're knitting and crocheting, weaving, spinning, they're doing something they really love doing, and they're doing it because they love it.
Mm-hmm.
And it's something that makes them happy, or they like what they're making out of it, and it's such a fun community to be part of.
Well,
and,
yeah.
That's been one of the things that's really struck me, is what a nice group of people it is.
Oh, yeah.
And how accepting everybody is.
I mean, it doesn't matter if I'm walking into a Michael's or a Knit Knack local yarn store or a Stitches Expos. Seriously, it's like a shot of endorphins for me. Like, people joke around about the fiber high and stuff. I totally feel it. I get it. And I get excited and enthusiastic, and just, I think it's the possibilities that you get when you buy yarn. My husband's always asking me, do you really need that yarn? Do you really need that color? Look at how much yarn you have. And I'm like, the thing is, you go, and there are people who maybe go buy shot glasses when they travel, and they collect shot glasses. And what are they going to do with those shot glasses? Really, I mean, they're just going to drink, if they do that at all, but they just really kind of sit there and they have a memory. But when I buy yarn, if I'm on vacation and I buy yarn, there's the memory of buying that yarn in that particular yarn shop that had that particular coffee bar, that had those wonderful women sitting around the table knitting and crocheting and talking. And I got that yarn, and it has those memories. And then as I look at it, and then the possibilities that are available as I work with that yarn, like, it could be anything. It could be anything I want it to be. And that's exciting to me. It's almost like gambling for me. It's that rush. It's that, what is this going to be? What can I do with it? And then making it, you get that high of you're making it, and then you finish it, and it's like, this is really great. And then you get to wear it, and then people, comment and admire. And I mean, it's just this constant reassurance thing. And I love it. It's the best place to be, and it includes the best people. This industry does. As we continue looking at the designer side of stuff, one of the things that Cascade Yarns does that I think is amazing is you have, I don't know if partnering up is the right word, but you have, I'm going to say teamed up with a publishing company to put out wonderful books that really showcase your yarn and highlight what your yarn can do. And it does really great. Do you want to talk to me a little bit about that?
You must be referring to Soho and 60 Quick Series.
Absolutely.
And actually, this was my mother-in-law's big idea. A long time ago, there was a 220 projects in Cascade 220, and it's a really cool book. Unfortunately, we could never get the full rights to it and republish it, and the original designers are disbanded, and we can't hunt them down. So we really wanted to do another book out of 220, and trying to find a publisher willing to do a book out of one yarn is a real challenge sometimes.
Right.
And my mother-in-law Jean was very focused on finding somebody to do this book, and we talked to Tricia at Soho Publishing, and we got this idea started, and it's done brilliantly. And what it is it's coming out with 60 projects that retail for under $20, and in a themed book. So we have the original 60 quick knits in 220, and then we have 60 baby knits in the 220 superwash, and we had 60 more quick knits in the 220 sport, and then more baby knits in the 220 superwash sport. And we've done one in cherub. We've done a blankets book. We've done a variety, just a huge variety of books. We have a new one in Ultra Pima that came out earlier this year. And the newest one of the group is the 60 Quick Knits for Little Kids. And it's doing sizes from 2 to 6. So we've got 3 baby books out. We've got one in Superwash, one in Superwash Sport, and one in the Cherub line, which is our acrylic nylon blend. And if you wanted to, you could substitute the superwash gauges in there for that if you didn't like working with acrylic. But this one is using our Pacific and Pacific Chunky, which is an acrylic superwash merino blend, which is really great for kids stuff because it really washes up nicely and comes in a wide range of colors. But
I was like, you pause. I have a bad habit of interrupting people when they're just trying to take a breath. That's why I was waiting. No, I completely.
Oh, no, that's fine.
So I try really hard to just kind of, and then there's an awkward pause. And then I apologize and I make a bigger deal of it than it is. But whatever. This book is amazing, and I love the yarn you chose to do with it, and it's fun. So my first question is going to be, how much involvement do you have with the books as they're being processed? Do you just hand it over is it to Trisha? Do you hand it over to a different person who puts it all together? How much involvement do you have, like choosing the designs, choosing the designers, choosing the yarn, all of that side?
Most of it's actually done through Soho. Soho does the majority of the curating of the designs. We talk about what concept we want, what type of thing we're doing, what yarns we want to use. This is the direction we want to do. We let the people that know what they're doing and getting that many patterns together and putting a publication do their job. And right. Tricia is phenomenal. She and her team do such a great job of putting together these books. It's been a real treat working with her. And I'll tell you about a very special project we've got in the works that we're working on with her that'll be coming out next year before we go. But no, I love what they do. She'll ask me, hey, we did one with the local yarn stores, and that's one where we're more involved, where we kind of reach out to our local yarn stores and have them submit designs directly to Trish at Soho Publishing. But, this is one where we let them do what they're good at. We do the yarn, and we look over the book and look for, obvious things that we have concerns about in it. And, we approve the colors that they're using, so we make sure the colors are going to be around, So it's a team project, but all the design stuff is predominantly on Soho's end.
And they do such a spot on job there. You're absolutely correct about Trisha being fantastic at her job. I think she's an amazing woman. We've had her on the podcast several times. She's instrumental in so many different aspects of this business. I can't even imagine how many people have been on the show that mention Trisha Malcolm by name in the sense of, how they started or how they moved on or how they moved forward. I bet the listeners are often like, wow, this Trisha Malcolm lady, she gets around. No, she's just really good at what she does. And Soho, they always put together really great pictures, images, and they tell the story really well. And it's not just like a book just full of knitting patterns. Like it's almost a picture book in the sense of you flip the page and you can't wait to see what the next design is because it's so beautiful. And then you can't wait, oh, I could actually make that. And then you go to the design and it's fabulous. And they get together some of the best designers in the industry to put this stuff together. And it's fun. And you don't only find like really, beginner projects. You find easy, you find beginner, you find beginner, intermediate, advanced. Like there's literally something for everybody depending on what it is you want to make. Do you find that to be the case also?
Yes. And that's one of the things she's very good at putting that together with us. And it is the idea that there's something for everybody. That if looking at this particular, if you're interested in this particular genre, not everybody's knitting for little kids, but if you're looking for little kids, there is different pro-level projects. There's blankets, there's hats, there's sweaters, there's toys. It just depends. What type of thing do you want to make and what's your skill level? No, we have not done a crochet book yet, and that's something we've had kind of thrown around. We haven't gotten around to doing a crochet book yet. I think there were a few crochet patterns. There are occasional crochet patterns in some of them, but they're predominantly focused at knit. I will say that. So that is the one caveat. We are actually talking about doing a knit-along, actually, from this book, from the 60 Quick Little Kids after the beginning of the year, once we get through all the fun holiday knitting. And the one that I want to do is number 46, the Bright Pockets Cardi. It's a striped top-down cardigan with pockets. So it's a great way for somebody to get into knitting a cardigan because they won't have to do much finishing when they're done, and they can pick their size, pick their colors, and it should be a fun knit-along that we're going to do.
That's really cool. I would actually love to even wear that as an adult. I think that'd be great. It's just...
It is. It's a cute one. I'd wear it.
Yeah, I'd totally wear it.
My 10-month-old is running really big, so I'm going to make the smallest size for him in Seahawks colors. I know you're a Broncos fan, but I still like to like my Seahawks.
You know what? Here's the thing, is I like the Seahawks, but except when they're playing the Broncos. How about that? Because I really like your quarterback. I like your quarterback a lot. So he's a good guy. But I do. And the thing is, how big of a Broncos fan I am. When I went to college, I became an Indianapolis Colts fan because I really liked the way Tony Dungy coached his team. And so as I was watching the team play, I was fascinated by the way their quarterback played. I was like, who is this Peyton Manning guy? He's really good. I love the way he plays the game, and it's almost like it's chess for him. And so I really became a fan of the game. And so I became a fan of Peyton Manning. And when Indiana was stupid and got rid of him and sent him over here to the Broncos, essentially, I seriously, I was like a kid at a candy store. You have no idea how excited I was in the street wearing Broncos gear. I was so ecstatic. I was just beyond excited. Anyways, I get me on the subject of football.
I believe it. Your favorite, the player you were admiring, now got to move to the team where you're local, so it's fabulous.
Right? So now I'm a Broncos fan again. I mean, it's crazy. But yeah, I can appreciate good players. Like that's just the way it is. You know what other piece I really love is the Cable Bear Poncho by Audrey Drysdale. I think that is so cute.
That is another one that is just so cute.
You know what's funny?
I love the ears.
Yeah, I could totally see like I know this sounds funny, a high schooler wearing that. You know what I mean? Like, because they're all kind of that hip, trendy sort of, I don't know. I could just totally see them wearing that. I don't know why. Maybe just here in Colorado. I think it's just fun. You have some really great fun things. And especially right here during Halloween, we've got to mention the doll hair hat because, I mean, who doesn't love Cabbage Patch Kids? And this totally looks like a Cabbage Patch Kid head.
Yes.
Super cute.
And there's a kitty hat, too.
I love it. I love it so much. You know, the success of the 60 Quick Knits books in general, you have several of them out there, as you mentioned. It has to be inspiring, not only to Soho to see that it can be done, but you would think that, you know, as Jean and Bob watch this and see their ideas and their business grow and become even bigger, like it must be cool to walk into a store, not only see your yarn on the shelves, but see your book on the shelf and know that it's,
Yes.
yeah, so much fun.
Now, I love going into yarn stores. You know, whenever we go travel anywhere, we always go find local stores to kind of go check out and see what they have. And whether they carry our yarns or not, it's kind of fun to go check them out and just see what it's like, you know.
It's very cool. So here's a question for you. Say somebody doesn't have a yarn store local to them and they are, you know, not real sure where to get your yarn. Do you sell your yarn on your website? And if not, what would you suggest as the best way for somebody to get your yarn?
We do not sell directly to the public. We are wholesale only. We like to support our local yarn stores. We do have a store finder on our website. And also Googling, if you're looking for certain yarn, Google works really well because the stores that do carry particular brands online, because there's a lot of really good online retailers that also have a storefront, such as Webb's, Jimmy Bean's, are the two that I can think of off the very top of my head. I know there's a number of other ones. But if you Google the yarn and color you're looking for or the yarn you're looking for, that's where you can find an online retailer. But our store finder is great to find out if there's anybody within a certain radius of you, or if you're going to an area and you're looking for somebody who carries our yarn. Our store finder is really good, and it's on our website.
I think that's perfect. Well, Shannon, it's the time of the show that we give away prizes, and I know that you have some prizes to give away, which doesn't shock me at all because when we did the pajama parties together, you always brought some of the best prizes, and people miss you, man. They're always like, "Where's Cascade?" So, do you want to tell them what you?
Yeah, it's just I love stitches, and it got to be where it didn't work for us a lot. I'm focusing a lot more on yarn tastings with individual stores.
Hey, that makes sense.
Resources there, so we're working with the local yarn stores and still doing a lot of things to support that, but that's kind of where we shifted our focus on.
I understand. You don't have to explain yourself or apologize or anything. Just know that you are missed. Especially by me. I miss you being part of my posse. It's fun. But anyways, you always give away great prizes. What do you have for the guests today or the listeners today?
I have a copy of 60 Quick Knits for Little Kids with 12 skeins of Pacific in a variety of colors and a Cascade Yarns logo bag, which is this great vinyl bag with our logo on it that is fabulous for carrying mid to large size projects. It can hold up to about 20 to 24 skeins of yarn depending on the size of the yarn.
Holy moly. So
I did it the other day.
Because I know that Soho usually gives away a book also. So here's a question. Should we give away a copy of a book to somebody who leaves a comment, but then give away the copy of the book and the logo bag that you have and the 12 skeins of, did you say Pacifica? Pacific.
And I have two of those available.
Oh my gosh.
So
holy moly.
I planned for two of them. So what you could do is you could give away the book and then one of the packages to live listeners, and you can give away the other book with the 12 skeins and the logo bag to one of the people who leave the comment.
Oh my gosh, yes. It's a ginormous package. Tammy just said ginormous packages. Yes. So just to recap, you guys, there will be I'm sorry, I'm like flabber. Okay, so guest call-in number. Let's start there. Guest call-in number, everybody, 347-539-5589. 347-539-5589. 5589. Pick up your phone, give me a call. You'll be placed in the switchboard, and we will randomly select a winner on this in the switchboard, and you will win the book, the 60 Quick Knits for Little Kids, 12 balls, skeins, whatever you want to call them, of Pacific, and a Cascade Yarns logo bag. It's huge. It's awesome. It's fantastic. So that's everything you have a chance to win if you call in. Then there's also a chance for those of you who are at home that are like, wait a minute, I can't listen live. Don't worry. You have a chance to win also. After the podcast, Tammy, my social media Medusa, will put up the show notes over at marleybird.com. Now, right now there's like a holding page. It's already up. Like, these will be the show notes, but if you want to go here now to leave a comment, you can. But after the podcast, Tammy does a brief synopsis of everything we talked about in the show, including links and images and all that good stuff. So if there's something we mentioned that you missed, chances are you'll find them in the show notes, which are always available at marleybird.com. When you go to marleybird.com and you find the show notes for today's show, at the bottom of those show notes, it says, leave a reply. You click on that and you will leave a reply that includes a keyword that Shannon will give us here in a little bit. And that will enter you for a chance to win that same prize package, or it will enter you for a chance to win just the book. So there's a chance to win 2 different prizes just by leaving a comment. Even if you're listening live, you guys, you can go leave a comment on the show notes, okay? Just so you know. So there are plenty of chances for you to win here, everybody. Just make sure you go and leave a comment on the show notes. And if you're listening live, great. Go ahead and call in 347-539-5589. If you've won before, you can win again. No restrictions. You can call in and win again. It's no problem. I'm going to bring Tammy on the show here because she's the one that handles up the comments, because we give away the comment winner prize at least 2 to 3 weeks after the original air date of the podcast, because we know that lives get in the way and you don't have a chance to listen to the show right away. And it might be a couple weeks before you can catch up on the Yarn Thing podcast. And we want you to still have a chance to win. So you can leave a comment literally up to the day we are choosing the winner. And I want to reiterate, those comments must be left at marleybird.com with the keyword, because that's where Tammy is going to look through and scroll. We just randomly scroll, guys. We just use our mouse and just scroll up and down, and then the guest of that particular, whatever show is on, tells her to stop, and that wherever the cursor is, that's who the winner is. So that's the best way we can choose. The reason I'm pointing this out is because we get really great comments on Facebook, on Twitter, I've had people leave a comment on Instagram, but those, they're welcome and we love to get them. But if you're trying to enter for the prize, it has to be on the show notes for today's show, which are only available at marleybird.com. All right, I think I've covered my bases there. I got to get Tammy on the show here. And where is she? There she is. And Tammy, hello.
Hey, honey.
All right. I'm going to mute myself. Say hi to Shannon. She's probably like, dang, Marley talks a lot.
I already knew that. Hi, Shannon. Hey, Tammy, how are you? I'm fine. I was going to say something cheesy like, how's the weather where you are? But I'm there too, huh? Yes. So in the book, I wanted to say I love so many of these patterns, but I think the one that I love the best and I wish it fit me was the Fair Isle cardigan. I think it is. Oh my goodness, that looks like a little dude sweater. The Fair Isle band cardigan.
Oh, mm-hmm.
By Audrey Drysdale. That is so cute.
Yeah,
I hope
super cute.
A lot of people make that one.
It really is.
I'm sure they will. The nice thing about kid-size stuff is it's doable to make them.
Right? It's so fast.
Because it's not nearly as bad as making an adult-size piece. And for a beginner knitter, getting through a child's pattern, you learn so much. You learn construction. It's just so much more fun. You get through it so much faster. And that, I think, encourages you to keep trying bigger projects all the time.
I think you're right, Tammy.
Beautiful, beautiful book. Congratulations to Cascade. Again, because this isn't the first one, but it probably won't be the last. No, it's definitely not the last. We have several more in the works. So. Good.
I love it.
Awesome. So that means you'll come back, right? Yes, of course I will.
I love Tammy's laugh.
Coley Swanson. I mispronounce it. Yes, Coley Swanson.
was a fun
Elizabeth
podcast.
Zimmerman fame, her grandson, Meg Swanson's son, was on the program, and he talked about that he's redesigned. I don't know what the right word is for it. His grandmother's pattern, the surprise jacket, and
cool.
So we had him on. Yeah, we had him on, and his code word, everybody, was knit on with confidence and hope, which is good. I think a good motto for all of us. I think, and that was kind of the code word that everybody was supposed to use in their comments. I don't think I asked you. Were you able to think of a word or phrase that everybody should include in their comments? You know, take a minute to think about it.
We can just do 60 quick knits. Let's just do 60 quick knits since that's what we're giving away.
Perfect.
Sure. And that's easy on our memory, so we can get back to focusing on our pattern, isn't it?
Yes.
What I'm going to do is scroll through here. Oh my gosh, so many great, wonderful comments. I've been peeking at quite a few of them. I'm going to roll through here like a roulette wheel, like Marley said, and I'm going to have you tell me when to stop. And where my cursor is will be the comment.
I have to think of like The Price is Right. You know how like you pull the big wheel, it just goes and goes and goes.
Okay, stop.
Anyways, just sidebar.
And that is, Christina said, knit on with confidence and hope. I'm realizing how much I love to learn about the history of knitting.
All right, did you call in?
What that family legacy was.
It's about time, guys. Get to
so
pick winners.
That you could
45 callers.
The new book with us.
No, it's been fun.
I'm glad. This isn't I know it might be your first time to the Yarn Thing podcast, but you've been on other podcasts before.
I've actually only been on one other podcast.
Oh, so see,
So not quite.
ours is a little bit different.
I was on one with Webs. I was on one with
Oh.
Webs earlier this year.
They're
this
fun.
is my second podcast.
Very cool. Very cool. I'm glad you're here, my friends. Tammy, good job picking the winner with Cully Sullivan. He was a lot of fun on the podcast. That was a good podcast. All right, Tam, I'm going to mute you.
It was.
And mute.
Thank you.
All right, muted Tammy. And my friend Shannon, we have 44 callers, which is huge. Like Kristen Almdahl was on 45 callers. Kristen Almdahl was on last week, and I think she got in the 40s. Like that's a big number. So I'm going to do just like Tammy did, and we will scroll through and we will randomly select a winner of your fantastic prize.
Okay.
All right.
All right. Stop.
And stops. All right, that is 360. 360. Hello? Hello? It's you, 360. Yeah, 360790.
That's me.
That's you. Who is this?
This is Christy Hardy. I live in Lacey, Washington. I'm so excited.
Very cool. Are you a fan of Cascade Yarns?
I'm a total knitter, and I'm trying like everything to do your knit-along crochet, and I just like given up. I need some instruction one-on-one.
Oh man. Well, did you watch the videos?
Oh yeah, I do. I just got to give it another try.
That's the best thing you can do. Well, Christy, say hello to Shannon.
Hi, Christy.
Hello, Shannon. Yay. So excited.
Congratulations.
I never win anything. This is awesome.
Christy's,
Well, now you did.
yeah.
and go Seahawks, right?
Oh man.
We're not going to talk about the end of the last game.
That's funny. That's
That was a slow one, wasn't it?
Oh, wow. Well, Christy, congratulations. I am so thrilled you were able to listen to the show today and call in and win this fantastic prize. You win the book we talked about today, 60 Quick Knits for Little Kids. 12, right? Of yarn or balls of Pacific. And a Cascade logo bag, which is phenomenal. You're just, seriously, it's like the best kit ever. You're going to open it, and it's going to feel like Christmas. If you wanted to, you could put up your Christmas tree and just set it underneath your Christmas tree and be like, look what I got.
Oh my gosh, I'm totally overwhelmed. This is amazing.
That's so
Well, I
cool.
hope you enjoy it.
Very cool.
Thank you so much, Shannon. I really appreciate it.
Well, Christy, you're
You're
going to
very
have
welcome.
to make sure you share with us what it is you make with that wonderful yarn. And to get your prize, hun, I need you to email me, Marley at marleybird.com with your mailing address and phone number. And make sure in the subject line you tell me what it is you won, because I get so many emails that it will get lost if you don't put it in the subject line, okay?
Oh, absolutely.
All right.
Yay.
All right. Congratulations and thanks for listening.
Wow. Thank you.
All right. Bye, hun. So much fun. Shannon, I love giving away prizes, but you know what? I love you so much more. I'm so glad you and I were able to connect here on the podcast to talk about the book, to talk about Cascade Yarns in general, because so many people think of it as just this really huge, great, big yarn company. And the fact is, it's relatively small in the size of the number of employees you have, and it's family owned.
Yeah, we're under 20 employees. We're actually surprisingly small.
Yeah,
It
that's...
kind of shocks people.
Exactly. So I'm glad that they're able now to put a name and a voice to the name of Cascade Yarns. And I mean, it just couldn't be better. You're doing a fantastic job there. I love the relationship you have with Soho and the books you're doing. And it's really encouraging to know you have even more books coming on. They're in the works, in the planning, and they're on the horizon and all that good stuff. Like, I'm excited for it all. I'm excited for it all. Thank you for everything that you do over there at Cascade.
Yeah, and I'm just going to throw out one thing really quickly.
Sure.
So next year is our 30th anniversary, and we are partnering up with Soho to do a very special knit-along that we're going to be launching in January at BK Live.
Okay.
And it's going to be an Afghan and 220 superwash.
Very cool.
So when we'll be letting the squares out, I think every 2 weeks or something. But
Okay.
It's 30 squares.
Wow.
For each year.
Wow.
And I'm actually going to be designing one of the squares. So,
Fantastic.
It should be a lot of fun. So.
Oh, very cool. Well, that's good to know. Good to know. And congratulations on 30 years. Please let Jean know that I said congratulations. I adore her. She's amazing.
So thank you so much.
All right, hun. Well, you go take care of those little babies. I love following you on Facebook. And let's let everybody know where they can follow Cascade Yarns more to learn more about, any fun deals that are going on, or, where people could find the yarn tastings at local yarn stores or whatever it may be.
Basically, our website is cascadeyarns.com. Check out your local yarn store, and we've got a store finder on our website. We also are on Facebook, we're on Instagram, we're on Twitter, we're on Pinterest, and we have a blog.
Fantastic.
And we have a group on Ravelry as well. So
perfect. Awesome. All right, Shannon, I love you, my dear. Go have a wonderful day there in my favorite part of the country, and I'll talk to you soon.
Take care. Thanks a lot, Marley.
Bye, hun. I absolutely adore her, you guys. You have no idea how much Shannon Dunbabin is just... Seriously, I just really like her. I like her a lot. When John and I were in Seattle, I think it was this time last year, we actually went and had breakfast with her, and it was just, just one of those rare treats when you meet people in the industry that you work with, that you have a good working relationship, but then when it goes beyond just the working relationship, you have a good friendship. I love it, and I'm treasured that I have that with so many different people. And once again, I think it's because we are surrounded by such wonderful people in this industry. Like it's such a delight. And I know many knitters and crocheters, designers and crafters that enjoy working with Cascade Yarns. So I'm glad we were able to have her on the podcast to talk about everything that she does. And Caitlin, you all know Caitlin. She's a fan, and she just posted on Facebook Live that she is excited because there are so many good boy sweaters, boy projects in the book, which was something that I didn't even get a chance to mention. But that is one of the wonderful things about the 60 Quick Knits for Little Kids in particular, is that it's not just full of, really cute little girl stuff, because little girl stuff is really cute. It really is. I'm sorry. It just is. But it also has some really great, really cute little boy stuff. Like, just as Shannon mentioned, the Bright Pockets Cardi, that could go for a boy or a girl. Like, it is so adorable. You could totally mix and match that and have all sorts of fun. So there are a lot of projects in here for boys and girls. And so, don't hesitate. We all have baby showers or grandkids or kids coming into our lives that we can, make up these quick little projects. And so I think it would just be, it's a good purchase. It's a no-brainer. I know that there are some of you out there who don't buy books unless you have one or two things in it that you want to make, right? Well, this one has 60 options. 60 options. That's a lot of options, guys. You're going to find something that you like in it. And then you can go and get yourself some Cascade yarn, and you'll love it. You'll be so happy. Oh, totally love today's show, you guys. Seriously, I'm just excited. Can you tell? I'm excited I had Shannon on the podcast. Let's start our music. Oh, I don't want to start my music. I'm stopping the music. Stopping the music. Stop the presses. I have to tell you guys something. I have a brand new Creative Bug class getting released today. Literally, I think it's released right after this podcast ends. I am going to post a link on Facebook, on my Facebook page. I'll post it on Twitter. Please use that link and go to Creative Bug and check out the new class. It's for a knitted cardigan. It's not a cardigan. Well, it's a cardigan, but it's a cocoon cardigan. It's fun, it's easy lace, it's stylish, it's trendy. I'm telling you, you're gonna love it. I have one that I had made for me that is just, it's awesome. I've had people stop me on the streets and ask me where I bought it. So you're gonna love this class. It would be a great project. You'd be able to complete, at least a couple of them before Christmas if you were interested in making one maybe for some girls in your life that you think would really enjoy them. It uses Red Heart soft yarn, which is fabulous. You could mix and match and try different yarns. Just, as long as you keep the cut of what's going on. You're going to love this, guys. Creative Bug. Brand new class. You're going to want to go check it out. It's a knitted cocoon by Marley Bird. I taught the class on Creative Bug. It's Red Heart yarns. You can't go wrong, guys. Creative Bug. So easy, so simple, so stylish. And Creative Bug is just amazing. It's a subscription-based online learning. For those of you who don't know, you want to go check it out. All right. So make sure you go check it out. As soon as the podcast is over, I will post a link so that way you guys can see it. Okay. And I'll make sure Tammy puts it in the show notes too. So those of you after the podcast can go and check it out because it'll be available forever. So, even if you're listening to this show years down the road, you can still find it. Okay. Now I'll start the music. Here we go. There we are. Let's say thank you to Green Mountain Spinnery, Buffalo Wool Company, Creative Bug, Erin Lane Bags, Lolo by Barmaids, Craftsy.com, Knitters Magazine, XRX Books and Stitches Expos, and last but certainly not least, Red Heart Yarns, where I'm the proud national spokesperson. And I use their yarn in the knitted cocoon with Creative Bug. Don't forget to tune in on Thursday where we're going to try once again to connect with Carol Sokoski. Hope you guys have a great night, great day, great afternoon. Whatever. Make it great. I love you guys. Bye.
Thank you for using Blog Talk Radio. Goodbye.
And there you have it, everybody. That's the podcast. What'd you think? What'd you think, everybody, on Facebook Live? I'm talking to you. Seriously, so excited about this Creative Bug knitted cocoon coming out. So I've got to get off here so that I can find my link. I want to make sure you use my link if you don't mind, guys. 1, it's an affiliate link. 2, it's a great way for Creative Bug to know that I'm doing my job. I'm doing my job to help promote the class because, I truly do believe in this project. I think it's so cute. All of my crocheters and knitters that helped me out with my Creative Bug classes, the knitters particularly that made this one, they loved it. My friend Jill made one. I think my friend Becky, her name is Betsy, but I call her Becky. Betsy made one. I made one. It was a family affair. And my friend Karen made one. So it's a lot of fun. So you want to go check it out, okay? It's so wonderful. I love it so much. All right, I'm going to get off of Facebook Live here. I'm going to let you guys go on with your day. You might want to stay tuned because 1, I'm not putting my dog asleep today. If you guys missed it, last Tuesday after the podcast, I had to take my dog to the vet and I had to put her to sleep. I don't want to talk about it, but it was a very sad day and I was supposed to do a Facebook Live later on that afternoon. I wasn't able to, but today is the day I'm going to do a Facebook Live because I have some things to give away and I want to talk to you about the Creative Bug stuff. So I want to show you what it is that it's all about. All right. I love you guys. I'll talk to you soon. Bye, guys. Looking for more Marley Bird? Don't worry. I've got you covered. Click right down there and you will find more videos just like this teaching you how to knit or crochet, all brought to you by Red Heart Yarns. Go ahead, click away. Don't be shy. Don't forget to smash that like button.